Hello and welcome to the channel. If you've been following us, you know that our focus is usually on analyzing presidents and their actions, examining official statistics, social perceptions, and policy impacts to provide a complete data-driven verdict. Today, however, we are taking a slight detour from that familiar path. Instead of focusing on a political leader, we will analyze a topic that has captivated global attention for years, the so-called Epstein Files. Whenever this term appears in public discourse, it almost always comes with a sense of secrecy, tension, and anticipation. People expect a hidden truth, a revelation that might explain extraordinary things about the powerful and influential. But what do the Epstein Files actually represent when we set aside emotion, speculation, and social media hype and examine only documents, procedures, and verifiable data? This video is not propaganda, it is not an accusation, and it is not a defense. Instead, we will take a systematic, analytical approach based on publicly available court materials, official filings, investigative documents, and verified sources. Here, AI does not make moral judgments, evaluate intentions, or apply ideology. It analyzes only what is measurable, verifiable, and cross-referenced. To understand Epstein Files, let's begin with a fundamental question. What are they, legally and procedurally? There is no single archive or master document. Epstein Files are instead a collection of materials that were created, compiled, and released over several decades across multiple legal cases and investigations. These materials include court rulings and decisions from both civil and criminal proceedings, attachments to lawsuits, such as exhibits and supporting documentation, sworn testimonies, depositions, and witness statements, flight logs, personal correspondence, and digital communications, evidence compiled in civil cases or law enforcement investigations. Some of these documents were produced in the early 2000s, others during the 2008 legal case, and a substantial portion became publicly accessible after 1919 through civil suits and court orders for partial declassification. A key point often overlooked in public discussions is that not all documents carry equal legal significance. A document filed in court does not automatically confirm a fact. Many filings include statements from parties, witness claims, or lawyer arguments that were never adjudicated in a criminal trial. This distinction between documented in records and proven in court is critical. Misunderstanding it has fueled decades of speculation. Now, let's consider why publication occurred in stages over many years. The answer lies in judicial procedure and privacy protection. Many documents were initially sealed by courts to protect victims, witnesses, and third parties. Public release required separate court rulings, legal challenges, and careful balancing of public interest against individual rights. This meant that information emerged gradually, often in fragments, creating the impression that content was being deliberately withheld or concealed. Authenticity is another critical aspect. Across the Internet, you'll find countless files, lists, and screenshots labeled as Epstein Files, but not all are verified. Only documents published by courts, official archives, or formally recognized in legal proceedings carry legal weight. Everything else is interpretation, rumor, or unverified leak. Anyone seeking clarity must focus on verified sources. One of the most sensitive aspects is the mention of public figures. Precision is paramount. Appearing in a document does not equal accusation, let alone guilt. Names can appear in witness statements, contact logs, or event descriptions without implying legal culpability. The U.S. legal system distinguishes between the fact of mention and the fact of accusation, a nuance frequently lost in media coverage. Many people expect what they call a client list. Legally, such a document does not exist.
This concept is a simplification of highly complex legal records. Neither courts nor prosecutors have verified any such list as evidence. Misinterpretation of this point has driven speculation and conspiracy narratives. So, why do many materials remain sealed? Multiple reasons exist: protection of victims, statutes of limitations, absence of living defendants, and risk of reputational harm to individuals without judicial findings. Even under significant public scrutiny, courts must uphold these principles. Media coverage has amplified perception. Headlines emphasizing names, speculation, or scandal often carry more weight than dry legal facts. Social media further magnifies this, turning complex cases into emotionally charged narratives. But public outrage does not constitute legal proof. From a judicial perspective, Epstein Files highlight limitations of legal enforcement over time. Statutes of limitations, insufficient direct evidence, and the death of a central figure drastically constrained prosecutorial options. These constraints illustrate the difference between moral evaluation and legal proof. Legal boundaries prevent courts from pursuing every perceived wrongdoing, even in cases of serious public interest. Next, let's examine content and timeline in greater depth. Materials from the early 2000s document initial investigations and early civil suits. The 2008 legal case generated sealed plea agreements, probation documents, and restricted civil filings. After 1919, following civil suits, many of these documents were released, though redacted to protect the identities of victims or unrelated third parties. This staggered release process increased the sense of mystery, but it reflects legal and ethical safeguards, not intentional concealment. Another important aspect is context. Many online discussions present snippets of documents in isolation. One line in a deposition or an email excerpt may appear incriminating when detached from context, but within the broader legal framework, it often has a different meaning. Careful, structured analysis is essential to avoid misinterpretation. Social perception has also played a major role. Court documents are technical and complex. Media coverage often emphasizes sensational elements, names, allegations, and rights over nuanced legal realities. Social media further amplifies emotional narratives. Understanding the gap between public perception and legal reality is essential for accurate analysis. Even public releases cannot fully convey underlying legal complexities. Court filings include procedural motions, statements, and evidence, but do not always establish proven truth. AI analysis allows systematic parsing, separating statements from verified findings, and summarizing patterns without bias. Finally, considering broader implications, Epstein Files do not constitute proof of an elite conspiracy, but they do reveal structural issues. These include limited transparency in legal processes, media distortions, and a persistent gap between societal expectation and judicial capacity. These observations are derived from verified sources and official documents. To summarize, this analysis does not assign guilt or innocence. It defines boundaries of knowledge. Where data exists, it is analyzed. Where data is incomplete, the analysis pauses. Epstein Files demonstrate the complexity of law, media, and public perception, showing how public understanding can diverge from verifiable facts. This AI-driven evaluation is fully transparent and open to verification. Anyone can access court records and official filings to confirm the analysis. Epstein Files are best understood as structured collections of legal documents reflecting procedural realities, not conspiratorial smoking guns. Thank you for watching. If you want to explore further, check official court sources, public filings, and verified archives. Understanding Epstein Files requires patience, attention to context, and reliance on verified information. By separating facts from speculation, we can discuss these sensitive cases responsibly.